You've got Antonio Brown. You've got Godwin. You've got Evans. You've got Gronk balling. Brate's still there. Let's see what Tom Brady does against an elite defense, because if he can perform well against this Rams defense, I think that's going to be evidence of what they can do come playoff time in the NFC.
Well, I actually think it is about the quarterback versus the defense, but it's the other way around. I think the Bucs defense is going to determine this game. It's an elite defense, and the Rams have to travel back and forth. The East Coast constantly, they're going back and forth. I like the Bucs defense as the decider in this game. They have been excellent this year, and I expect them to look really good against LA.
This game is about both teams' front line, about their offensive line. If the Rams can create runs early on in downs against this Tampa Bay defense, like Max was talking about, who can be elite at times, I believe the Rams have the upper hand, because now you can be creative in the pass game with play action. And we've also seen when Tom Brady was under duress, 2 times against the Saints and against the Chicago Bears, and he was not good, and they got curb stomped in one of those games. So I'm interested to see which line can dominate the front of the other defense, because I believe that team has the edge. And I'm thinking that the Los Angeles Rams win this game tonight.
All right. Full reaction to all of it tomorrow. And guys, we were so busy with football today, we didn't get into any of the free agency frenzy madness. So we'll have all the NBA news for you tomorrow, all the reaction from Stephen and Max as well. Ryan, right? Thank you so much for being with us. Also, their Super Bowl winning quarterback, Drew Brees, but Taysom Hill stepped up his first career start, showing his athleticism and getting the job done against the ATL. New Orleans now improves to 6-0 in games without Drew Brees, dating back to last season. Max, what were you more impressed by, Hill or the Saints defense?
I was actually more impressed by the Saints defense yesterday. I mean, Hill, I'll leave for you, Stephen A., because there's a lot to talk about there. But that Saints defense was excellent. They had Matt Ryan under pressure. Their coverage was, coverage was excellent. They were winning up front. Like, that was a tremendous performance by the Saints defense. And the thing is, and by the way, the Falcons had won, 3 of their last 4? The thing is, I don't know, there wasn't against good teams. If the Saints can play defense like that, and remember, the reason I've liked them in recent years was because of the dynamic offensive teams. They seem to me to be most consistently defensively responsible against the run. I think that's important for a dynamic offensive team. So the Saints get Emmanuel Sanders, who's a legitimate number 2 receiver. They have their receivers back now. They made that move for Quan Alexander that I mentioned at the trade deadline, which is really, they got a lot of value in terms of production right now. His contract is another story, but it showed that the Saints were serious about winning right now, and it's paying dividends. That was the best defensive performance I think I've seen from the Saints all season, and with Drew Brees out for a while, they're going to need it. But I actually think the story of the game, in terms of the headlines, obviously, is Taysom Hill is the most interesting part. But in terms of who actually performed the best, I think it was the D.
Max Kellerman, are you ready for this, man? I wasn't moved. I wasn't moved by the Saints defense. I understand that they were highly effective and all of that stuff, but I wasn't moved. Yes, you got 8 sacks against Matt Ryan, but that offensive line is atrocious. Julio Jones had a hamstring injury. He was in and out all game long. He had 2 receptions. Some dude named Cage or Gage, whatever the hell his name was, he was targeted 12 times. Brian Hill was running the ball more than Todd Gurley. You got no running attack. It ranks 24th in the league. You only rushed the ball 12 times because you know you didn't have a running attack. It was very predictable. I mean, Matt Ryan was just mincemeat. I mean, they were just salivating at the mouth. They knew exactly what he was going to do, and they knew that guys, Julio Jones, with him not being there, couldn't get open. So, I mean, the Saints deserve props and credit. Don't get me wrong. But when I say that I wasn't moved, I mean, I was more moved by what I saw from Taysom Hill. Because let me tell you something right now. This brother can do something that Drew Brees can't do, and that's run with that damn football. In today's day and age, if you are a quarterback with wheels and you watch Lamar Jackson with his suspect throwing ability, at least last year and the year before, run the football so effectively, all the way to league MVP honors. If you can run with the football, it's something that needs to be utilized. And sure enough, that's what Taysom Hill did. Ran for 2 touchdowns, ran for 51 yards, and oh, by the way, when he threw the football, other than that floater, that Hail Mary to Emmanuel Sanders for 44 yards, I mean, he was pretty much throwing the football effectively throughout the day, completed 78% of his passes. I didn't expect that from him. I hadn't seen him throw the football, and he looked pretty damn good throwing the football. Which is why I didn't blame Sean Payton for retweeting Roddy White, the former wide receiver for the Atlanta Falcons, who was talking smack all week long about what the Falcons were going to do to this dude having his first NFL start in Taysom Hill. Well, he put all of that to bed. He handled his business, and I give credit where credit is due. To walk in as the successor to Drew Brees, at least for the moment, and to look the way that he did, throwing the football, but then to add running the football to his arsenal, which is something Drew Brees could never do, it made the Saints look every bit as formidable as we're accustomed to seeing them look, at least this season. And that is what impressed me. It's who he was coming in after, which was Drew Brees. It was how effective he threw the football. It was adding the running dimension to his arsenal and putting that in play for that offense. And of course, I mean, I'm just looking at it from the standpoint that with all of that being said, it made perfect sense because guess what? Jameis Winston would not have run the football like that. So having Taysom Hill in there playing the way that he played, I got to stand down and give this young brother, this 30-year-old brother, props for showing up in the lineup and playing the way that he played yesterday. You can't get Jameis Winston to run the football that way. And if he threw the football that way, you stand and give him a round of applause. I got to give Taysom Hill the love today, even more so than the Saints.
Well, look, that's why I couldn't figure out. Why was Sean Payton lying to us, right, at the Super Bowl? Like, how does that help him to tell us he's going to, that Taysom Hill is the quarterback of the future when we started hearing, oh, yeah, they're going to start Jameis. And then I was like, oh, coach wasn't lying. And by the way, he seemed authentic to me when he seemed honest to me when he told us he was going to start, that Taysom Hill was the quarterback of the future. Stephen, I know he's 30. But that's because Drew Brees is 40. You know, he could have started with the team at 20. You're not going to replace Drew Brees while he's still good. So that's why he's so old and he's, but he understands the offense well. He didn't make mistakes, and especially, at least turnovers, and especially what I liked was he got better in the second half. He was sort of game managing, feeling his way in the first half, didn't really feel like second half he was better. So that's all encouraging, and there's a lot to like and talk about Taysom Hill. However, Taysom Hill did a nice job, and considering we don't think of him as a quarterback, he's thought of more before today or yesterday as a gadget type player, although at a very high level. That may be a bigger kind of story or what we remember. But in terms of who was more impressive yesterday, Stephen A. Smith. Them dudes sacked Matt Ryan 8 times. They hit him another 11 times. That's almost a dozen. So basically, they got to the quarterback 20 times. If you want to give out grades, you give Taysom Hill a high grade on a curve based on circumstances. You give that defense an A+ for yesterday. They were excellent. All the defensive backs were excellent. And I know if your line is a mess,